Hello, my name is Trent Nelson. I'm the author of a book called GhostSpeak, which is available at my website www.lulu.com/Trent Inspires. I'd like to read a chapter of the book, an excerpt from chapter 1 of my book GhostSpeak. The reason I decided to write this book, and I contemplated not writing it, spent many days and nights contemplating whether I wanted to be publicly known as someone who claimed to have communication with entities other than human beings. Ever since the recent show Ghost Whisperer aired on television and early movies such as Ghost and The Sixth Sense, it just seemed to be in vogue to talk to the dead. Ever since my first teacher, who was a former Tibetan Buddhist monk, spoke of his Tibetan healer hanging out in the graveyards to help spirits which might be lingering there find their way to their next incarnation, I began to examine an ongoing relationship to the spirit world. I know there are people who have relations to the spirit world, who are visited, bothered by, communicated with, and otherwise attached to. Some ghosts are attached to people, some people are attached to their ghosts. Either way, I thought that a proper discussion of ghosts might invoke some light and support to both sides, the human world and the spirit world. There's a great deal of confusion about ghosts, about what is considered to be ghost lore, fantasy, or misunderstanding, and about what is considered real and accurate information about the paranormal. There are many books on the fields of paranormal psychology and paranormal investigations, and otherwise known as ghost hunting. There are ghost hunters and those who produce evidence of the existence of ghosts. I'm not interested in necessarily defining the scientific reasoning or providing the facts about ghosts or ghostly encounters or haunting. I want to relate to you on a personal level, a common sense level, to tell my story about ghosts and how they've impacted my life, my health, and how they've hindered me, and how one even helped me. I want to share this with you in the hopes that it may shed some light and give some inspiration to you if you or a loved one ever finds yourself in the position of needing to communicate with a ghost, or find yourself unconsciously being communicated with by a ghost. That is why this book is called GhostSpeak. I can remember the first time I perceived that I'd been contacted or was in contact by a ghost. I say it that way because my dialogue with ghosts has indeed been a two-way communication. I'll explain more about that as we proceed. I was living in my parents' home in Minnesota. I think I was around 11 or 12 years old at the time, and my parents had gone somewhere for the evening. As I was on my way from the laundry room downstairs towards the living room, there was a narrow corridor there, and I remember feeling a gigantic chill running down my body. I couldn't turn around, and I couldn't yell. I was frightened, and all I could do was run, so I did. I ran up the stairs and darted out the front door to feel that there was definitely someone behind me. I turned around, sure there was a giant man or something just waiting to do me harm, but there was nobody there. I was shocked, stunned, and didn't want to go back into my parents' house. When I did, I could still feel that the presence was there like I did before, and only now I wasn't afraid. It felt more to me as though I were connected to whatever this presence was. I know there was some type of energy or being or entity around me connected to me. When other people were around, I think mostly because there was more noise around, I was less aware of this presence. This was the beginning for me. And though I know there were other less perceptive contacts by spirits earlier in my life, when I was 16, my best friend died in a horrific car accident. He died quickly, violently, as his car freakishly slid underneath a semi-truck. I was heartbroken, as he and I were soul brothers. My dreams soon after his death became filled with images of him dying, seeing the car come around the curve off the off-ramp and slide underneath the semi-truck. I could hear his voice, his laugh constantly. There were many times I felt him still with me, and I didn't want our friendship to be over. I wanted him to be alive so much, and I spent many nights with other friends mourning our loss. Other people began to recover from the shock of Jason's death, and slowly returned to their studies at her high school. I didn't. I soon began to have conversations with my departed friend's spirit, sometimes for hours. I could easily leave a party and go for a walk, talking with Jason, having a two-way conversation, all the while forgetting about my still living friends. I figured I was simply still grieving, still trying to deal with the loss of my best friend. I didn't really think that maybe, somehow, I was connected directly with my dead friend's spirit. I couldn't comprehend at the time that I was having conversations with my dead friend because perhaps he couldn't move to whatever his spirit needed to be next. I didn't understand this until many years later, when I found my first spiritual teacher and learned about wayward spirits and unborn entities, and received some facts about what spirits and entities really were. My obsession with staying connected to my friend who had passed became palpable. I was depressed. Not only was I depressed, but I believed that Jason's spirit, in the fact that he had been killed so suddenly, so young, and so awfully, that instead of his spirit taking the normal route a spirit takes when a person dies, his tried to cling to this life. Since Jason and I were best friends, I believe that his spirit found its way to me and found a way to cling to me, or possibly even allowed his spirit to become a part of me. In doing this, I unknowingly opened a door to allow other entities and spirits to connect with me. This is from my book, GhostSpeak, which is available at www.lulu.com/Trent Inspires. Thank you for watching.